Well, last time we talked was about 2:15 and now it's about 4:15, so everything's all out of the tubs and out of the trash cans. A little tip, I'm 70 years old. I keep one of these two things in the back of my truck at all times. If I push trash cans up there and go to the dump, I can grab them from here and I don't have to crawl in and out the truck to get something, a box or anything. I can just hook that over the side and pull it toward me. Well, let's see how the garden's doing. This little row, first row, still got to have some compost put on it and some more work. Now you can see that all of the rows are fertilized, limed, and everything's been turned under with 2 passes with a plow. We'll run beans down this fence. Well, it'll be that fence because we're going to remove all this stuff this season and put it on the garden. And this half of the compost pile we put on the garden last year, so there's a lot of compost in there. There's not as much soil as I'd like, and there's a lot of leaves in there, and I'm going to have to keep running over this. This is the weakest section. We do have a lot of pine trees, and you can see that there's a lot of pine needles here. Pine needles are good to compost, but they mat up if you get a lot of them. And they don't have a tendency to break down like they should. See that? You can use a little bit of it, but that's what you're going to find. And since it really doesn't turn into good compost, I'm not saying it won't help the soil, because anything you put in the soil will help it. But we bag all this now and do not put it in the compost pile. Because in the wintertime, when these trees start to shed their pine needles, it covers the ground. Sometimes you can't even see the grass. And see, that's not too bad. I'm hoping that when we get this upper layer off, look at that roots, look at the roots come in here from somewhere. That apple tree, who knows? It's a long way for a root, but we found them in here before. I'm hoping that the bottom of this is going to be usable to put on my garden. Anything would be good enough to put down to keep the weed count down. And all of that on top of there is this year's grass. There's our compost experiment going on. And all this is pretty soft and pretty lumpy. In another month or so, if I keep turning it over with the plow, I'll be able to plant something in this. From here, the onions look pretty good to be up for what, about 9 weeks. And now it's going to be the good part of the gardening. We still got to put up a few fences to grow cucumbers on and put our stakes in the ground for our tomatoes and peppers, but after that, it's plant, stand back, watch it grow, and pick the fruits of your labors. I'll slide up here because a few people wanted to see some more of these peonies when they bloom. Unfortunately, when we come down here every other day, sometimes every 2 or 3 days, they bloom and get past peak pretty quick. But there were a lot of buds on it. They have opened up. You can see where a lot of them have died. I've taken 2 trash cans full of weeds that are just this big. And I don't remember this yellow one. My wife says she does. Quite often she remembers stuff that I don't remember, and I think she's the correct one. But that's a pretty iris. I hope that there are a few more of them like that in there. That is absolutely gorgeous. And this little peony's got a few more to open. These white ones are pretty. Let me show you this little teeny one down here that doesn't get a lot of sun. Now that is a pretty one. Well, I think that's going to be it for today. Thanks for watching. Looks a little different than I filmed it back on the 7th of March, doesn't it? It's ready for planting.